Hello everybody, I hope that you're all well and that your exam preparation and study is going well too. Today's video will look at 10 tips for tackling 10-mark questions. I know that this video is well overdue, however it will be uploaded before both the legal and health exams so that hopefully you can take something away from this video and implement it in the exam to better your 10-mark question responses. The first tip for tackling a 10-mark question is using your reading time well. Some people during reading time don't know what to do with that 15-minute time frame, but the best thing, in my opinion, to do is to plan out how you're going to answer the 10-mark question. So firstly, you want to read the 10-mark question and try and understand what it's asking you. But reading time is the perfect opportunity to plan out how you're going to answer it. Of course, you cannot pick up your pen. However, you can plan it in your head and think about how you're going to structure your response. The second tip is breaking up the question. The best way to do this is by first asking yourself, what task word are you required to respond to? And what content is the question examining? By breaking the question up, you're more likely going to better understand the question. And this may prevent you from forgetting to include something in your answer. And when you break up the question, it can actually help you think logically. So, for example, if the question is broken up into 3 content areas, that ultimately gives you the opportunity to write 3 separate paragraphs. The third tip is annotating the question. So whilst breaking up the question is very important, it's also equally as important to annotate the question. Something that I did was I would circle the task word, and on top I would write what it is that I was required to do. So whatever it was, evaluate, discuss, I would always circle the task word and write what exactly I needed to do. And then I would underline each content area that I needed to include. So that enabled me to not only break up the question, but annotate it in a way that made sense to me. And of course, some of these tips may work for some, they may not work for others. So it's important to try them all out to see what best suits you. So the fourth tip is to create a plan. So when you can pick up your pen, it is important that you plan your 10-mark question. This is crucial so you're able to visualize all of your points. So jot everything down. If there is stimulus material that you wish to include in your paragraph, write that down. If there are statistics that you've remembered, writing them down is fantastic as it will eliminate the stress of forgetting important information. So if you write everything down and how you wish to respond to the question, it's almost as if you're jotting it down so you're not going to forget it. That's the way I thought about it. And look, the 5th tip is always begin by answering the 10-mark question. Some people prefer not to. I was always taught to begin with it. And the reason for this is that you've got more time. So I had the mentality that I wanted to get my 10-mark question out of the way. Get it done first so I wouldn't run out of time. Many people may leave the 10-mark question to the end, but then they might find that they've run out of time, so they might rush to do it. And I always tell students that I would much rather have a really, really good 10-mark question, and I would much rather rush a question that's worth only 1, 2, or even 3 marks. Some people can even dot point questions like that, especially in health. But the 10-mark question is crucial. because what the 10-mark question does is that it separates the A student from the A plus student. So that's why it is crucial that you spend enough time, not too much time. You don't want to waste all your time on a 10-mark question. However, it's important to spend enough time on it so that it is executed well enough for you to receive a good mark on it. The next tip is to ensure that you write concisely and that you use paragraphs. So it's important to actually remember that a real person will be reading your response and they will be marking it. So if you write clearly and in paragraphs, they're more likely to award you marks than if they have to search your response countless times to actually find the answer. Now, the markers won't spend hours trying to comprehend your point or what you're trying to convey. So if you present your argument to them or your answer to them in the clearest way possible, it will not only make their job easier, but you're more likely to gain marks more easily as well. Number 7, apply the stimulus material. So if you're given a case study or perhaps a sentence with information in the 10-mark question, you need to apply the stimulus material. You need to link it into your answer as best as you can. So this shows the marker that you not only understand the content, but you have mastered the skill of application. So it shows them that you're not just regurgitating what is being given to you, but you're actually applying it to the scenario and the question. And once again, this actually separates the A student from the A plus student. Number 8, once you have completed your 10-mark question, it is so important to reread it. It's often easy to forget to do this step. I have almost forgotten to do it many times because you think, wow, I finished it, I'm going to move on, and you're relieved, you've got it done. However, it is so important to edit because in the moment you might be writing and it makes sense, but when you look back at it, you need to add things, omit things, so it's very important. For me, I would do a couple of other questions and then go back to my 10-mark question. So I wasn't thinking about it. I would do my 10-mark question, go on to do a couple more questions, and then edit it with a fresh slate almost. So always edit. Number 9, do not leave the 10-mark question blank. If you really cannot answer the 10-mark question, do not leave it blank. By leaving it blank, that'll mean you get a 0. There will be no marks to award. You're going to get 0 out of 10. At least if you actually give it a go, you will get some marks. Even if you write the tiniest paragraph with some knowledge, you cannot get 0. So it's better to get some marks than getting nothing at all. So I always say to students, if you absolutely cannot answer it, do not leave it blank. And the 10th tip is to relax and do not stress. Whilst it is important to do well on the 10-mark question, do not beat yourself up about it. It's not the be-all or end-all. Ultimately, if you're consistent throughout the examination paper, you can still do really well. So my main tip of advice would be to start with the 10-mark question, to plan it out, to write concisely, and ultimately use this question as an opportunity to show off your knowledge to the marker. That concludes today's video. I hope that you have taken something away from this video that you can then go on to implement in the exam. Before I finish up, I would just like to wish all of the VC students the best of luck in your upcoming exams. As always, if you would like to reach out to me to ask for some more advice or have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. or send me an email. Thank you.